It's bad news. All going in. That would be me, Griff, our sweet-natured graduate dog's body Lucy and Trevelyan herself, in the middle of the night. This was unprecedented bad news. Tell me, I braced myself. It's Angelina, he said, his disembodied voice oddly intimate in my ear in the still, darkened room. We just lost her. She's dead. Doc. I was already up and hunting around the floor for socks. My face felt unconscionably hot and numb. How? I demanded, curt in my attempt to remain businesslike and detached. She exploded. Griff sounded hopelessly apologetic. I paused in the darkness, phone clutched in one hand, a pair of thick, woolly socks in the other, and sat down heavily on the creaking bed in my pants and vest. Bollocks, I replied. Chapter 2. I'm not a very good morning person, especially not a good 3 in the morning person. So the drive from my modest flat, which is roughly the size of a postage stamp, and located over a late-night cyber cafe, over to the lab on the other side of Oxford in Griff's beat-up blue Kia Picanto, was filled mainly with a grumpy and uncomfortable silence. I tried desperately to wake myself up, and he tried heroically not to mention the fact that I hadn't taken any time to fix my hair. It was mercilessly restrained under a rather festive wool cap like pale candy floss. I usually try at least to appear like a professional, well-turned-out blood-work paratoxicologist when I'm at work, even if I don't feel like it. But lack of sleep and the news of Angelina's death had soured my mood even further. I don't usually socialise with my work colleagues, or anyone, for that matter. I took heart in the fact that it was early November, so at least my hat was seasonal, if not sombre. The dark and deserted New Oxford streets slid by as we drove, gloomy and ice-cold wet cobbles and venerable grey stone lit at intervals by dim sodium vapour street lamps. There was no one at large at this ungodly hour, not in this district of town anyway, and the world looked like a shadowy and frosty stage set, unreal and empty. The ancient buildings reared around us. The only signs of our brave new world having any impact in the last few hundred years were the searchlights, which nestled like alien tripods in the roofscapes, and the occasional data stream screen affixed to the side of a building. Great television screens which daily brought the message of our noble leaders to the people in the streets. At this hour of the night, they were uniformly blank, emblazoned only with a scrolling message repeating like a screensaver. The motto of our people. Ex umbra in lucem. The Kia's headlights cut 2 yellowish beams ahead of us through a thin fog laced with ice crystals. The car rattled around like a bean can on the rough roads. I considered it an old wreck, but my lab assistant was very proud and called it vintage. There were only 100 or so left in all Britannia, he had told me once. Griff, God bless his cotton socks, had at least had the foresight to bring coffee to appease me somewhat for dragging me out of bed in the early hours, and I hugged the piping hot styrofoam cup with my gloved hands like a lifeboat as we juddered towards the campus. Griff was sweet and thoughtful by nature, and probably deserves someone more patient and pleasant as a boss. If I worked for me, I certainly wouldn't bring me coffee, or if I did, it would be decaf. I don't know why he bothered making the effort half the time. He wasn't uneasy on the eye either, in a hopeless, eternal student kind of way, square-jawed and always carelessly unshaven. His hair was a mop of knotty dark curls, and his large eyes a pale caramel behind glasses that just managed to land on the cool side of the nerd spectrum. He always gave the impression he had just stumbled out of bed, late for a lecture somewhere. It was an odd combination of clumsy geek and public schoolboy yumminess. Quite the contradiction. You never knew whether you would prefer to jump his bones or tuck his shirt in properly and give him a hot meal. I'm not much of a cougar for younger men, so he was thankfully quite safe with me. Our relationship was strictly professional. He did what I told him to do, and he did all my maths for me. Not all scientists are good at maths, incidentally. Don't tell anyone, though. It's a closely guarded secret in the scientific community. It helps to have reliable flunkies. Thanks for the coffee, I muttered, as we